Coming in right now from Kashmir, where a major terror attack has taken place in Anantnag. A police party has been ambushed by 16 Lashkar terrorists. 6 policemen have been killed in this attack. We are learning that a young SHO has also been killed in this attack. 6 policemen were a part of this police party which was ambushed. At least 16 Lashkar terrorists laid ambush to this police patrol, and 6 policemen have since been martyred. What is notable that this attack comes just 24 hours after a major attack yesterday in Kulgam, where an off-duty policeman, Shabir Dar, was shot dead outside his house. A number of videos, terror videos, have been released in the recent past which have warned Jammu and Kashmir policemen to desist from anti-terror operations, and now one after the other, these attacks have been reported on policemen in Jammu and Kashmir. In the latest that we are hearing, that the Lashkar has taken responsibility for the latest attack. On your screens right now is the young SHO Firoz Dar, who is one among the 6 policemen who were martyred. First these threat videos, and now attacks one after the other on policemen in Kashmir. Interestingly, Shabir Dar, who was killed yesterday, was a part of the Special Operations Group, which is engaged in anti-terror activities, anti-terror operations. And today, another police patrol party has been attacked. Shuja ul Haq is joining us for more on that story. First of all, Shuja, bring us up to speed with exactly what happened.
Well, Padmija, there has been an attack that took place in Achabal area of Anantnag. Well, what we know so far, as for the details are concerned, is that this was a police team which was headed by the SHO of that area. Suddenly the militants, attacked the vehicle. Sources are saying that it was a heavily armed group of militants. About 12 to 15 is the number that we have been, given to understand. But there is no official confirmation on the sequence of the events, but this is the source-based information that we've been able to gather so far. Now, 6 policemen, including that officer, that SHO of that area, have been killed in this. The police says that help was rushed in immediately as the information was gotten, but by the time the rest of the reinforcement could reach the spot, the assailants had fled from the area. Now they've started a massive manhunt. The searches are being conducted in and around those villages. Cordon has been laid down. Paramilitary forces, the army and the police are jointly carrying out searches in these areas. But like you're pointing out, there has been, an increase in the number of such activities, particularly targeting, policemen. Just yesterday, we saw a similar attack happening in Srinagar city in itself, in which one policeman was killed. Just day before yesterday, another policeman was killed in South Kashmir, who was, on leave and had gone to his, house to spend some time with the family. So if you put it all together, it is an immense pressure situation as far as the Jammu and Kashmir police force is concerned with regards to these threats to their lives.
Absolutely. In fact, just stay with me, Shuja, because on that point, Active Editor Gaurav Sawant as well. 3 days, 3 attacks on the local police, Gaurav. Local intelligence is critical to any anti-terror operation. Is this all a plan, a part of a grand plan to cripple these anti-terror ops?
Spot on there. At this point of time, Padmaja, the Jammu and Kashmir police, they are the sword arm on getting intelligence. It's a very competent force. It's an outstanding force that has done so well in defeating Pakistan-sponsored terror in Jammu and Kashmir. And that is why, whether it's Lashkar-e-Taiba or Hizbul Mujahideen, terrorists fear this police force. Burhan Wani had killed police officers. Subsequently, every day, these terrorists are issuing threats to police officers. Why? Because they know as long as Jammu and Kashmir police is strong, they cannot succeed in Jammu and Kashmir. That is why systematically, those police officers who've been leading operations against terrorists, they are being singled out, they are being eliminated. Threats are being issued, their families are being intimidated, their houses are being burnt, their cars are being burnt, so much so that SP Vaid, the Director General of Police, had to issue a very stern warning to these terrorists and tell them, remember, you have families too.
Absolutely. And in fact, Shuja, there was also an advisory by the police asking the policemen to be careful, to not go home when off duty. Also, there was an investigation, according to reports that had come in, about informers who were giving information about these off-duty policemen who could be targeted, specifically those who had been identified for anti-terror operations. What happened to that investigation? Have the loopholes there been plugged?
Well, as far as the investigations are concerned, they are the part of the standard operating procedure, and every time an incident like this happens, there are investigations that follow. But the fact remains, like you were pointing out, it is a major concern for the J&K police, to be precise. And in this connection in itself, the police headquarters had issued a circular asking the policemen not to go home, for some time. Be vigilant, be careful whenever they want to go home and spend time with their families. But, none of those steps seem to be stopping these incidents. We're seeing, in fact, we're seeing an increase in the number of such attacks that have started taking place. Like I was pointing out, 3 attacks in 3 days. That in itself is a huge message that we are seeing being sent across on the ground.
But the fact is that these operations are continuing unhindered. That is as strong a message that is being sent back to the terrorists who are trying to browbeat these anti-terror operation operatives, these policemen who are involved in these operations. In fact, Gaurav, you've also spoken to your sources in the SOG, the Special Operations Group in Kashmir. What have they told you?
So they are basically saying they know who these people are and they will get them down. Now remember, these terrorists were claiming to be very brave. They'd put out a picture, 11 terrorists together, 9 of those 11 have been killed, 1 surrendered, and the 11th one, is still at large. But even subsequently, every other day, 1 terrorist is being gunned down, and that is where these terrorists are also extremely desperate. Now, Imtiaz Hussain is a senior Jammu and Kashmir police officer. He has just tweeted, he said, "I promise you, Firoz, we'll wipe out this whole killer terror gang." So the Jammu and Kashmir police, which is an extremely competent and a professional force, they are not getting intimidated. They are going to hunt these terrorists, and they are going to hunt even those who give cover fire to these terrorists, and they will neutralize them. So now it's, if I may, now it's actually a fight to the finish, not to contain, but to crush terror.
Stay with me, Gaurav. Kuldeep Khora, he's the former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir. He's joining us on the phone line. Mr. Khora, what do you make of these series of attacks? Will they have any effect in any way whatsoever? And what is the motive of these planned attacks targeting of local policemen?
This is something, an outcome of the increased role of police in anti-militancy operations. Whether it was 208 uprising or 2010 uprising, the J&K police had a major role in controlling the situation. Not only that, in coordination with other security forces, particularly the army, the trend of militancy was sharply coming down during the period ending up to 2012. And this is one of the ways to demoralize the police. But I have headed the police. I know the nature of our police and their commitment to work. And it is tremendous and marvelous. They will come up to the challenge and meet them squarely.
Absolutely. And sir, more importantly, don't you also think what happened day before yesterday with Shabbir Dar, a member of the Special Operations Group, again, another member of the security forces who was killed by terrorists outside his house when he was off duty? Is this not going to be a major tipping point? In the last few months, we've seen a young army officer first gunned down while off duty, and now this SOG constable.
Absolutely. The point is that we have seen that these types of incidents happening in the past also, and they have always tried to target the local police. And the only answer to this is to increase the operation, neutralize the terrorists, and with increased successes of the police and the security forces, I'm sure this trend is going to get reversed.
Well, absolutely, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. Thank you very much, Mr. Kuldeep Khora, former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir, for joining us in the People's Court. Thanks also to my colleagues Shujaul Haq and Gaurav Sawant.